This is a preview of the newly revised counteroffer that's slated to be released December 16th. We're looking at a seller counteroffer, although the buyer counteroffer is the same. It just has the names of the parties reversed. And you'll see the revisions indicated in red here. Now, I'll do a tutorial on the form when it's officially released, but I'll show you what the revisions are, what's coming out here in December. And of course, this is a very poorly designed form, a shamefully designed form. This is a counteroffer. It should just be these lines here, which are basically cleaning up whatever wasn't agreeable in any preceding documents, like a preceding counter or the original offer. But instead, they put all of this boring legalese text that has no business being here. This should be addressed in wherever this is caused. This could all be cleaned up. This whole thing could be entirely cleaned up. It's a mess, but I did a whole separate video that's a rant. I won't do it here. I'm just going to show you what changed, because there's been a significant change. And it says here in the red, this counteroffer is valid regardless of whether any previous offer or counteroffer expired by its terms. So it's saying, never mind what's expired in the past, this is still valid. Now, let me explain, because this down here has to do with expiration and late acceptance, because in practice, what happens quite often is that someone will make a counteroffer, and on the third day it expires automatically. Or you can even change that to sooner. You could say this expires in 24 hours. What happens though is someone makes a counteroffer and then the other party sits on it. And then this form expires. Technically it's expired, but then the other party says, you know what? I'm going to accept. And they sign it, and then it goes to escrow. And so expired forms are used all the time. I mean, I can just tell you, whether right or wrong, it doesn't matter. I'm telling you in practice, this is what happens. Okay, and so now this is being cleaned up. It's saying that because in theory, if you send it in a form to someone and they don't honor your timeline and the form expires, I mean, should you be bound to it? No. You said there's an expiration to what you're offering. You know, if they're not there by the end of the sale date, then and the sale ends, sorry, prices go back up. It's that sort of thing. Well, down here, to reinforce that notion, they're saying if the date of the buyer's signature in paragraph 5 is after the expiration, meaning that if the party receiving the counter, if they sign after the counter is expired, then it requires the original party to make the counter, in this case the seller. Remember, the seller originally made the counteroffer. It requires them to sign again, that they agree in this late acceptance. So this creates a countersignature. So to simplify, seller makes a counteroffer, okay? Buyer sits on the counteroffer too long, and this form expires. Then buyer decides, you know what, I am going to agree. Well, they're not done. Now, in the past, they would be, okay? But there is a problem. There's an issue how it's been done in the past, and that is, well, is the seller truly obligated if the counter expired? Well, in this case, they're saying no, clearly not, because it requires an additional signature. And if the seller doesn't sign a second time afterward, then it's not valid. We must have this additional or second seller signature, seller counter signature. And it's the same thing. Whoever originally made the counter has to sign a second time if it's done late, if it's done on an expired form. So that's what this creates. This, I think, is actually very good. This form, in terms of how it's designed, is probably one of the most obscene and flagrant examples of poor design and quite shameful. So I'll end there, and I'll have a full tutorial once the official form comes out. Thanks, bye.